Welcome to issue 225.3 of Marauders Champions Monthly, a podcast about Marvel Champions, a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. Here we take a good look at that most critical piece of the game, the Marauders, of course. We'll discuss those poorly understood characters, unfairly labeled villains, and their various plans to shape mutant kind and benefit the planet, as well as those so-called heroes intent on thwarting them. I'm one of your hosts, Mike, and joining me this evening is Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I am doing okay. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just okay. I'm just okay.
Okay, I need a pun. Oh, hey, Steve's here. Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Mike? I'm feeling brigandery.
Brigandery.
Ooh.
That is awesome.
Yes,
Glad to hear it.
Yes.
Brigandery. That's a great word.
That must be because we're doing our Marauders Champions Monthly. But enough of that. I have to ask Daniel first.
Yeah. What's that?
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, remember how last week I talked about the Instapots and the old question? Steve, I found a sixth one.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, there was another Instapot like in a cupboard downstairs. Sure enough, there's a question in there.
Oh, okay.
And again, from anonymous/everyone. And here's the question for us guys. What attachment would you give all of your minions as a permanent if you could? And this one I already know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what permanent really means in this case.
Sure, go ahead.
Can it leave the game due to its own effect?
Yes, that is a permanent keyword. That is how permanent works.
Sure.
That they could leave the game? I thought they couldn't leave the game.
Only from its own effects. A permanent card can only leave the game by a card in its own set.
Oh, dang. See, here I was thinking that we could get a shield on these minions and that the shield would never go away because it could never be discarded.
Well, you could do that with a hollow shield generator.
Could you?
You could, because it just says attached minion gets +4 hit points and gains retaliate 2. That's it. That's the end of it. There's no way to get rid of it. So
yeah, nice.
Okay.
Nice. But there were some that prevent the minions from taking damage. I thought that would have been it would have been nice of us, I suppose, but I guess we'll just have to, yeah.
I was looking at some like cybernetic enhancements or psionic shield. Yep, kind of do that. They can't take damage, but then eventually they go away. Yeah, so those,
interesting.
Nice.
Once again, Mike goes kind of real world in our world. All right. I was gonna have them all have a massage chair.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Pandering to the minions.
I can't believe it. I mean,
no. You misunderstand. They wander around behind me, and sometimes I need to sit down.
Oh, they're pushing the chair.
Yeah, and they all have one of those. So whoever I'm with, who happens to be minion of the moment, can set the thing down, and I like that one. I can get my 15-minute massage chair thing on, like at a rest stop or airport or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. No, it's not for the minions.
Not for them,
guys.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Please. How about you, Steve?
Well, I went in-game attachment. The same thought that Mike had. So I was thinking Hollow Shield Generator, which I talked about, but the Fittest is a good one. It gives the minions +5 hit points and +1 scheme, +1 attack. That's pretty nice. It's out of the Apocalypse set. Sonic Shield is really good. When attached minion would leave play, instead heal all damage from that minion and put it back into play. Then you get rid of the attachment. They get +1/+1. So I was looking at those types of attachments.
Hercules Cloak is pretty good too.
What's that one do?
+3 attack.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Anything that keeps a minion around longer so it can do its thing. Like push a massage chair around, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fun. That's a fun question.
Maybe that could be like Blockbuster's job, because he can clearly lift heavy objects.
He can just push them all at once.
Yeah.
Or maybe Riptide can just throw them at us when we need them.
Yeah. Love it.
You get a chair. You get a chair. You get a chair.
So, Mike, what's this nonsense of this Marauder week or month?
Okay, so there's a lot of Marauders and a lot of multiple copies of said Marauders. So rather than just rehash shows and have nothing to talk about, we're just having a big old extravaganza this month. And the focus on this episode is Arclight and Lady Mastermind. And I believe you two are up to give us some backstory stuff.
Okay.
And let's start with, because he's first in the show notes, let's start with Daniel.
Yeah, Lady Mastermind. So, guys, I decided I would invent a story that I liked better than maybe the real one. Is that okay?
I mean, I did.
Okay, good.
Oh, boy.
Now,
Sorry,
some of
folks.
this is based in much truth, and some is where I want this story to go. So, Lady Mastermind, Reagan Wingard, is the daughter of Jason Wingard. Mike, do you know what he's the original? What is he's also known as the original what?
I'm gonna say Mastermind.
Nailed it. He was a powerful mutant with the ability to create telepathic illusions. Now, growing up, Reagan lived in the shadow of her father's criminal activities and his infamy within the mutant community. Now, Jason's manipulative nature and frequent absences left Reagan with a turbulent childhood filled with neglect and a yearning for approval. So already, guys, my heartstrings tugged on.
Oh.
And I'm going to say it right here. This story hits home. As a dad of a teenage daughter, oh my goodness, I look at Lady Mastermind's story as something of a cautionary tale, gentlemen, on my end, to actually, but also to actually one of hope that our wayward kids, okay, pushed away as they may be by those who are supposed to protect them, they find their way home. Now, anyway, all y'all listening out there, Jason Wingard, not a role model. Now, Reagan's mother, shrouded in mystery, she struggled to provide a stable environment for her daughter. And that home life instability, coupled with the constant pressure of being the daughter of a notorious villain, and then further combined with her growing mutant abilities, which manifested at a young age, well, these made Reagan's early years challenging. So, discovering her powers at that young age and realizing she could create incredibly realistic illusions. So she was a little better at this than her dad. Like, her dad made illusions. She made illusions that were like sense-based, like they affected all five senses of people, right?
Well,
okay. So she has kind of a unique flair, but think about that, guys. You're 5 or whatever, and you can do this, right? It must have overwhelmed her. And I suspect figuring out how to harness that power with like a child's mind in her difficult situation. Like imagine her at school, like bullied or cornered or dealing with teachers or whatever. It's stressful. And what if you had unique powers like hers and you could deal with your situation like she could? And living, under the example of a dad who used his power for evil. Yikes. Okay, so it's no surprise then that as a teenager, Reagan becomes increasingly rebellious, rejecting any association with her father's legacy. She resented the fear and the hatred that mutants often faced, and she sought to carve out her own identity. Now, her abilities, however, made her a target for those looking to exploit them. Now, Reagan's life took a darker turn when she fell in with a criminal crowd, using her illusions for theft and manipulation. I mean, how sad and tragic this is for her, trying as hard as she did for so long to turn away from her father's example. Now, despite her rebellious nature, guys, Reagan craved acceptance, recognition, and this may be her most relatable quality. This yearning for those things is so young adult. Now, her life of crime brought her into conflict with various heroes and villains, sure, but it also taught her valuable lessons about survival and the harsh realities of the world, things her dad certainly experienced but never shared with her. Are you guys feeling it yet? Are you okay?
Yeah, you're hitting the feels.
Yeah, I think most of that I just made up. So,
it's okay.
Now, so far, I've been a little sympathetic. I've leaned on the touchy-feely stuff. The things that I talked about were in her backstory, but I embellished some things, or I, wanted to make it kind of more of a TV movie if I could. In reality, she grew up to be a pretty morally wobbly persona that generally felt happy to just rip stuff up. She did some bad stuff, especially to our dear X-Men. Now, she was on the team for a while, and Rogue had saved her life at one point, and she felt a little pinned down by the goody-goody nature of it all. She had a mean streak she couldn't control, and ultimately she joined the Marauders. Now, her big, awesome villain move was to go with the X-Men to Rogue's house in Louisiana. Rogue's had got hurt, and she's going to, heal up or something, and a bunch of X-Men went with her. Now, while they were there, she decided that she would unleash the Marauders that she'd been hiding by an illusion, and they all overwhelmed the X-Men. That is just my favorite.
Nice. I love that.
Favorite, badass moment, right?
That's good.
So then she joins in the whole mutant massacre fiasco. She left Sinister when everyone died, and she found herself in the Sisterhood of Mutants. And then she did some bad stuff with Mystique and Madame Hydra. Now, during one conflict, Wolverine sees through her illusions and stabs her in the belly and leaves her to die. But guess what? Guess what, guys?
What?
She doesn't die.
Wait. Or does she?
No.
Is it a clone? Is it clones?
Unclear.
Okay.
Unclear. In my, what I would call limited research and maximum embellishment. So,
I don't think it's a far stretch to say it's either time stuff or clones.
It's
I mean, it's
actually,
unless you see them die. If they leave them for dead, they're not dead. So they leave her for dead.
Yeah.
She's dead. Moving on.
I think she's brought back to life by like something called the Hand of Five.
Oh, yeah, that's the whole Krakoa thing where they can like they can bring mutants back to life.
Yes, because speaking of Krakoa, a surprising finale to her tale, Steve, is that she ends up there in Krakoa and defends it from attack.
Yeah,
so, like, she's a good guy now, right? One of, like, 3 or 4 Marauders, I think, end up like that, doing sort of Krakoa work. So, perhaps then we have a tale of redemption and overcoming one's debilitating origins to do good in the world, which is my thing and what I love about these villains, even if I have to make that up as part of their tale.
You just extrapolate.
Yeah. It was there.
Daniel, I think you like a lot of the Krakoa stuff because there are a lot of villains that play a big role in that society.
Well, Mike, you'll love Lady Mastermind because she's as loaded with ambiguity as her illusions. I like her a lot. Nice. Yeah. But I think that stuff is there. You know, imagine yourself the daughter of Mastermind. How's it going to be? Anyway.
So now, Daniel, we do not have her as a villain card.
She's only a minion, which makes no sense.
She's not even in the regular Mutant Slayers modular set. She is a campaign card minion. You only get if you play in the campaign. So this is one of those Marauders we decided to include. So here we go. Like, let's find out about her campaign card.
Maybe it's because she really doesn't belong there.
Daniel, think of it this way. If the players choose the right order in which they do their side quests, Lady Mastermind can show up in all 5 scenarios.
Okay, well.
Nice.
Maybe she's not a Marauder at all.
All 5.
Her single trait is Marauder. Oh, never mind. Okay. All right. Let's look at her minion card, her campaign minion card. Lady Mastermind, unique minion, 1 scheme, 1 attack. No asterisk on that attack. 3 hit points. Oh my god. Now, she does have Surge.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Well, that's nice. When revealed, take X damage, where X is the printed cost of the event in your hand with the highest cost.
Take that, you dive bomb builders.
Yeah. And she's got 2 boost icons and a star, and that star is discard an event from your hand. So she's great. Her secondary effects are great. I'm glad she has when revealed.
Daniel, you will note that when revealed does not require you to be in hero form.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's great because it feels like the illusion. She's like turning you on yourself. You don't know what's right, what's wrong, what isn't. Your own thing is harming you. She's
your
using
own thing,
your own brain, your own powers against you, which is kind of cool. So I think that's a neat theme.
But I love like the fact that you can like feel her illusions. It wasn't just like a visual thing, right? You could, the smells were there, the touch, that is all there.
Yeah,
she's so cool. Very
cool.
Yeah. So that is Reagan Wingard, aka Lady Mastermind.
Daniel, I think that was a great story too. I very much appreciated it. Even if you had to extrapolate a little bit from what was written. So I love it.
I was given
no
the
excuses.
directions of telling a story. I just was telling a story.
Yeah.
But speaking of stories, Steve, I think it might be your time. You said something earlier last week about Femizons.
Oh yeah, Arclight. Okay, so I have Arclight. Arclight appears in that Uncanny X-Men number 211 in 1986, along with a bunch of the rest of them. And so her name is Philippa Sontag. I believe I'm saying that right. If I'm not, she can yell at me. All right, her early life is shrouded in mystery. Otherwise known as nobody knows anything about her childhood before because nobody wrote anything. Okay. She does join the Special Forces in Vietnam. And she works with a peacekeeping force there. Like, this is the earliest bit we have of her, right? But the experiences that she suffers there gives her deep and bitter scars. The Vietnam is a pressure cooker. The war triggers her mutant powers to manifest while she's over there, which allows her to send arcs of light at people. Nah, I'm kidding. She can actually create. She doesn't shoot light at people. She hits them with shockwaves when she makes physical contact with them.
So there's no arcing light at all?
There's no arcing light.
There isn't. Oh, come on. How stupid would it be for a mutant to have light powers?
I know. Idiot.
What a maroon, hey?
Yeah, ridiculous. Okay, so what does she have? So she has superhuman strength. So she can punch or kick someone really, really hard and blast them with seismic energy when she hits them. Okay. Occasionally, light is formed as a side effect to that impact, which can blind people and do that sort of thing. But she's got to like slam her hands together, or she's got to smack someone for that to come out. So she can like shatter stuff if she hits it. I mean, I can shatter stuff too if I punch a vase. But I guess she's shattering bigger stuff than old vases. It can disorient people. It can cause earth tremors.
Wow.
And since she's trained as a special covert ops, she's really, really dangerous in hand-to-hand because she has the martial skills coupled with the mutant powers, so she's pretty potent. She's recruited by Mr. Sinister, and she joins in on the Morlock Massacre. She turns out to be second in command on the team of Marauders and number one in the heart of Grey Crow, at least while they're while they're massacring mutants and Morlocks and stuff like that. So the two of them have a long-standing relationship while the team is still together in the early days. All right. So the two of them are lovers, and they make a powerful set of leaders for the Marauder. She kills dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of mutants and Morlocks along the way. She's really good at her job. At some point, she decides she's going to leave the Marauders and joins the Femazons, which Daniel mentioned is an all-female team.
Wait, really?
Yes. Yeah. But Daniel, unfortunately, the storylines are terrible. They're really boring. Well, they don't do anything, and they are continually like one-upped by Captain America and Falcon. So like the stories are not about the women's empowerment. It's about Captain America and Falcon doing their thing.
It's about patriarchy and that nonsense?
No, they get like mansplained through it all, right?
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
So I did not read very far into the Femazons.
I think Marvel needs to reboot this with a modern twist.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, the opportunity is there, and there are some powerful ladies on that team. But I'm sorry to disappoint. So,
the thought of Captain America mansplaining. I mean, that's just.
Yep.
There's the character.
Of course, it would be him.
Of course, it would be him.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, his idea of gender roles comes from what, the 20s, 30s?
40s. Yeah, that's true.
So when he grew up and it saw his, God, how the Femazons just didn't rip him apart.
So that doesn't really work out for her because it sucks. And then there's a point later on where she gets the snot beat out of her by a bunch of whiny little brats, and I mean like little kids, like 5 to 10-year-olds. They're called the Power Pack. I don't know. Wow. I read one issue about these little guys. They had all these special powers, and somehow they ended up swapping powers with each other. So they're relearning how to use their new abilities, and they go down into the Morlock tunnels during the massacre because their friend is down there, and they need to save their little kid friend, like Leech or somebody like that, and or Artie. And they run across Arclight, and eventually these little kids just beat her up. They get a little backup towards the end by some of the X-Men, but she's clearly not meant for the parenting life. The kids are not her thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. She, however, does retain her powers after M-Day, like some of them. She joins the 198, which are like the 198 mutants who still have their abilities, who hang out outside of the X-Mansion, and there's a whole storyline there. And during some of this storyline there, she dies.
Oh.
Yeah. And, of course, she's got a clone. So she returns with a clone. This time she returns with a clone. Magneto takes control of one of Sinister's clones' farms. So her clone is working with Magneto because he brings her to life from the clone farm. And then I don't know what happens. She dies again or something. And then she comes back again with the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, who takes control of another clone farm. But Pryor is in a hurry to make an army of mutants. So all the mutants clones that she's reanimating or cloning are sort of like half-baked. So they're like half undead zombie clones. Oh. They're not quite there. Because she needs her army and she needs it now. So bam, she like accelerates the cloning process, and they don't come out very bright. And this is when Grey Crow returns into Arclight's life, and the lovers are reunited. You may say, "Aw," now.
Well, he falls in love with a zombie version.
No, he just kills her outright. He's like, bam, shot to the head. She's dead.
Wow, that's romantic.
But that allows her to be reborn on Krakoa because of the Hand of Five, without the corruption that Pryor had put on her that was messing her up. And presumably, she's still on Krakoa, living her best life, doing her thing.
With that great purple hair and the incredible arms.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, she is jacked in the comics. You see her ground slamming most of the time, creating these seismic blasts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Her triceps are amazing. Just saying.
Yeah. That's Arclight. So.
Well, that's a great story. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. As much as we can get on some of these Marauders. So
yeah, tell us about the card.
All right, so A and B. So A side is a scheme of 1, attack of 1. She is also a brute and Marauder with a force interrupt after Arclight attacks you or an ally you control. Choose. Confuse a character you control, or Arclight gets +2 attack for the attack with 10 hit points per player. Her B side, she's a 2 scheme, 2 attack, brute Marauder, and when Arclight attacks, you choose to confuse the character you control with the highest thwart, or she gets +2 for this attack with 13 health per player.
She is a brute.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I noticed the brute ones have a little higher health, like Blockbuster and her. I think her being able to confuse you kind of works out with the light when she does hit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It feels like it's thematic. She's shocking you. She's knocking you down. Yeah. Like, what's going on? I don't know. And then, or she gets bigger. So.
And this is clearly the most intellectual brute in the game.
2 scheme on her B side.
2 scheme, and she's confusing folks.
Yes.
That's not really a brute thing.
It's not, but it does make sense in the comics because she's usually trying to chase someone down. Like, oh, this person's getting away. No. Seismic slam.
Okay.
Yep.
Takes them out. So it's from a distance. No, you're not thwarting us.
Right.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. No, it works. Love it.
All
right. So she's got a minion card, which is a unique minion with a 1 scheme, 1 attack, 5 health. Brute Marauder, retaliate 1. And when she attacks, you choose to confuse a character you control, or she gets +2 to the attack with 1 boost icon.
1?
So, the retaliate 1 is nice. So,
yeah, her and Riptide get a little shafted here.
On the boost icons?
Yeah.
Yep. Overall, a pretty good one. I mean, the confuse, I don't know. We'll talk about this.
Depends on who you're playing, right?
If you have a whole bunch of allies that you're going to be attacking with, you could just confuse them all day long because you're never going to thwart with them. So that can kind of be, the hero's kind of neuter her ability if that's happening.
Yeah, it's definitely more impactful if it manages to hit your hero.
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, the 1 turn Nick Fury, it's like, yeah, sure. Or Professor X. Right. Yeah, sorry, Professor.
But it'll always hit Mike's hero, so that's fine. Well, Mike, what did you think of these stories?
Oh, they were lovely, fellas. Absolutely lovely.
It's time we hear one from Mike.
Yeah, break out the reading material. Oh, don't worry, I'll make it a good one. But in the meantime, dear listeners, I hope you are enjoying this mutant cocktail of Marauders just as much as we are. You can email us with your thoughts at criticalencounterspod@gmail.com. We're Critical Encounters on Facebook, and you can find our YouTube, Twitch, or Patreon by searching for Critical Encounters Podcast. And on Discord, we are Vardane, Big Foam Loaf, and Wandering Tube. And if you like our show, you tell your friends. And if you don't like our show, tell your enemies. Let's go with Arclight. Take us out.
It's a lot of money. What does he want exactly? Tell him I do violence, but not sex.